In the life of St. Francis of Assisi, written by St. Bonaventure, it says that St. Francis, in the presence of a crucifix, was unable to eat food. That in the presence of a crucifix, a statue, the Son of God hanging on a tree, that he could not eat food. St. Francis, on seeing an image of Jesus crucified, had everything in his life quickly put into perspective. Who he was, what he was on earth for, what mattered most, and what mattered least. St. Francis of Assisi, in the presence of a crucifix, quickly realized who he was. Who was he? A sinner. Who was he? A son of God who had killed God through his sins. What was he on earth for? To help other people come to know Jesus. To help other individuals to see themselves as sons and daughters of God and to be set free. When St. Francis of Assisi saw a crucifix, what mattered most in his life? The love of God. What mattered least? The food in front of him. 4 powerful questions for you to ask yourself today. Who are you? Who are you? What are you here for? What matters most? And what matters least? For Francis, it was a crucifix that always put everything in perspective. That he was a sinner, that he was here to help others get to heaven, that Christ and salvation mattered most, and that everything else didn't matter at all. Raise your hand if there's a crucifix that hangs in your kitchen. We might not all have that same reaction to a crucifix. But every single one of us is called to really pause and ask those questions. I know that in the last few hours of my life, I have asked those questions. Many of you have heard about the death of Scott Gill. Scott Gill, a very young father who adopted 4 beautiful children with his wife Sandy, died completely unexpectedly yesterday. In the past 24 hours, I've asked myself those same questions. Who am I? Why am I here? What matters most? And what matters least? How easy it is for us to get caught up in things that are so foolish and so worldly, and to allow our own pettiness, narcissism, selfishness, desire for comfort and pleasure to blind us to the reality of life. Scott's unexpected death clearly has woken many of us to what matters most and what matters least. And I pray asks many of us, why are we here? And who are we? Death does that. Death shocks you and knocks you out of the norm of life and challenges you. The death of Scott Gill but also the death of our Savior. Every time you see a crucifix, you should ask yourself those 4 simple questions. Who am I? Who am I in relation to this dead man on a tree? Why am I here? Why does he have me on this earth? What matters most in my life? And what matters least? How easy it is for us to get those answers wrong. How easy it is for us to build lies and frustration and anger and dissension and division on answering those questions wrong. But how beautiful it is when we get those answers right. How powerful it is when we get those answers right. Right now, I pray that every single one of us really ponders those questions and puts our faith and our trust in our God. In a few moments, after we offer our prayers and our intercessions, we will have the veneration of the cross. Unlike other years, when you've been invited to come forward and touch the cross or kiss the cross, that will not be the case this year. We will be inviting you to come forward. We invite you to either just genuflect or to bow. As you stand in line, as you cast your eyes on the crucifix that will be unveiled in just a few moments, I want you to ask those questions. Let the shock and the horror, the blood and the sweat, and the death of our God evoke within you profound answers of who you are, why you are here, what matters most and what matters least. And in answering those questions, may we act upon them, and acting upon them, may we be set out as his disciples, as his apostles, to change the world forever. Through God's grace, may it be so.